We have returned back into the heat. It's like over 30 degrees today here in Melbourne. But we're back. We're back from our trip. And, you know, what better thing to start the new year with than with a haul, pickups, whatever it is, you know, the usual consumerist hellscape that is showing off what we bought whilst overseas. I just came back from about a month abroad with a week in Malaysia, a week in Vietnam, and a couple of weeks in Japan. So this is basically what I picked up in Japan. I didn't buy anything in Malaysia or Vietnam as it was more sightseeing rather than shopping. And in Japan, it was just the usual catching up with pals, hanging out, going to pop-ups, and just looking around. So yeah, let's get to it. Long time no see, everyone. Hisashiburi, tanto tiempo sin verte. It's your old mate Chicagon back at it again. Hope you have all had a safe New Year's, wherever you may be, whether or not you had some time off. I hope it was restful. Mine definitely wasn't, because I feel like when you travel, a lot of the time you're not really relaxing. And I get it. Like, I'm lucky to be able to travel. But I definitely don't feel rested, and going back to work immediately, I'm already like, ugh. I yearn for a 4-day work week. I yearn. Every day I yearn. But yes, anyway, we went to Japan. We bought some things. So let's look at them, shall we? So starting off with something simple. It's exactly what I am wearing right now. Basically that is a very, very large dragonfly just landed outside the window. It's gone now, but just trust me, it was like this big. But yeah, on the last day in Japan, we were out in Takadanobaba getting some shabu shabu, which was delicious. Highly recommend doing some Japanese hot pot if you're ever over there, or wherever you may be if they have Japanese hot pot available. But afterwards, it was pretty late, and I was like, oh, there's a Baz store just up the road near the station. And Baz store, you don't really see online as much compared to like 2nd Street and Treasure Factory, Ragtag, Rinkan. But they are generally open pretty late. In my experience, most of them close at like 10 p.m. So when everything else is closed, you can kind of bank on a Baz store being open. And we had briefly gone to that one before. I had seen a pair of yohji denim from quite some time ago. I would say at least the early 2000s, which again is just weird because I feel like the 2000s doesn't seem for some reason like that long ago, but that is like 20 plus years ago. The passage of time comes for us all. Oh. So anyway, we went in and I did try on those pants. I didn't take a photo. The room was pretty cramped to like change in. So anyway, didn't pick up the pants. However, I was looking through other things there, and it is the middle of winter. It's not super, super cold, but it is cold. And I was sort of just like going through the rack of like the local stuff they had on offer there. And I found this tank top from Freak Store. Was just like, hey, that's kind of funny. There's a tank top on sale here. It's currently summer in Melbourne. I could really use this. And I ended up grabbing it. It was $4. Looks like this. Very, very standard tank top. But I do like how the shoulders are a little bit sort of wide, and it is cropped. I mean, it's not super cropped, but it is shorter length than a lot of like other tanks I have, like say like the Rick Owens or Julius ones that I have are quite long, whereas this is a nice short length, and was just like, wow, this is indeed something that I have been looking for. So picked it up, and yeah, really, really good still. Worn it today for the first time. Really, really like it. I had been looking at, there's a label by a YouTuber called Smoldry called Object 22, and they have, I think it's called the Incision tank. I don't think they sell it anymore, but it's a tank I'd always been looking at as like, oh, it's kind of cool. It's got like the slightly longer shoulders, a cropped fit, and to find something sort of that ilk out of random chance, pretty cool. And this extra little like length on the shoulders as well is an interesting little detail, as tanks are usually kind of like straight down here and maybe do have a longer neck like a singlet. But yeah, a good find, a good way to end the trip to find like a little bargain on something. For those who don't know what Freak Store is, I'm not really 100% on it. I do see them around, like they're in department stores and they even have other brick and mortar stores out there. And they seem to sell like a range of well-priced clothes, kind of just what's on trend currently there. So over there at the time, it was a lot of puffer jackets and coats. Their prices, I would say max like $300, but that is for like a proper down coat, a very big piece. The majority of their stuff is maybe priced at about $100. I'm talking AUD here. USD is super strong. I don't know how that compares to the yen. So around like $100 for, like pants. Some things are even cheaper as well. So, I mean, it's nothing that they sell is quite out there or wild, but you can definitely find like denim jackets for $70, things like that. Worth a look if you're ever there for some basics or just, some easy things to add to the wardrobe that'll just go with whatever. Moving on to other things I grabbed. So in Ikebukuro, there are a lot of shops called K-Books, and K-Books basically stocks, as you may expect, a lot of like K-pop related things. But it's not only that, they kind of stock a lot of either like sports, memorabilia, anime stuff. It's just there's many shops, but each shop is focused on a specific thing. So say there's one that's just like K-pop boy groups. There's one that's like K-pop girl groups, but also local sports teams. So it was great to go there and have a look. Their stock, look, I'm going to be very, very honest. K-Books is a bit of a rot. Basically, what they seem to do is buy up a lot of K-pop albums and things like that, take all the collectible stuff, and then resell it at ridiculous prices. Like, there was the New Jeans section, which of course I went to. Love New Jeans. And they were selling things like sorry, what are they called? Not trading cards, photo cards. That's what they're called. For silly amounts of money. Say there are these like Murakami collaboration ones that they were selling for like 4,000 or 5,000 yen, right? In the pack. When I eventually found the Line Friend store and went up to the second floor, there was a New Jeans section. Those same cards, brand new from there, 1,000 yen. So the markup at K-Books is astronomical. Yes, there are probably some things you can find there that are not available anymore, but I implore that you try and find them from the source directly because you will save some money compared to dropping stacks at K-Books. It is how it is though. Like if you want to spend the money, you will be able to find a wider range of things at K-Books. But if you do that extra little bit of work, finding it from the source will save you so much more money. That out of the way, I did buy something there because I am a sucker. I am a sucker. Anyway, XG. Love XG. They're coming to Australia this year in February. Going to go see them. And I never actually knew that this merch existed. And when I saw it, I was like, holy crap. That's actually really cool. This is a long sleeve. Very, very simple. We do have the XG logo on the front. It is a collaboration with a graphic designer named guccimaze over there. But the thing that stood out was this gorgeous back print we can see here. Have a look at this. So lovely. It has that sort of like retro band tee look. And it is a limited edition. Basically, this came out at the end of 2023 in Japan for a specific Japan concert where they were debuting some new things. This was for, I can't even read this. There we go. New DNA. Showcase in Japan, 2023, November 26th at Pia Arena. I don't know where that is. But it's got all the girlies on there. It is a cool piece. I haven't actually put it on yet, so let's pop it on and you can see how it fits. This is an XL, by the way. This was the only one they had. They also had some other XG tops, which were like the teeth from the Woke Up album cover. Looked very, very cool too, but this one stood out to be a bit more. I'm suffering for y'all. It's so hot. But yeah, this is the top. The XL, yeah, it's huge. Like, look at this. The sleeves do really bunch up. We've got a little logo there as well. It says XGalX, a new breed, breaking boundaries. But yeah. A nice bit of merch. I didn't expect it to be so heavy. Like, it almost feels towards a pullover, but yeah, it is a cool piece. I'm happy with it. A nice bit of K-pop merch that I will definitely be wearing to the show. And I showed my friend Jazz as well that I'd found this, and they're like, oh my goodness, can you find me one in an L? And I found one on Medcuddy for way cheaper than this one was, but there were no XLs on Medcuddy, so I just went back and bought this one. We're both going to wear them at the show, have a little twin moment, and yeah, excited. I'm now going to take this off because it's boiling. All right, so let's move on. Feeling much better back in a tank top. So next up, we actually grabbed a couple of things. Actually, no, 3 things. I just remembered. Let me go grab it. So we have a friend in Japan, Karasu Shop, also known as Louis, and Louis, I always get it wrong. Oh, I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry. But we did catch up with him to have a look at some of the things that he had for sale, as he does run a shop on Grail that has an amazing, it's just such an incredible collection of clothes. And there were a few things there that I'd had my eye on for a while, so did end up picking them up, as well as picking up something from like his latest drop, which is really cool seeing a sneak peek of that as well. But let's go through the 3 things that I grabbed. First up is this leather skater belt from Yohji Homme, which has this gorgeous little clip feature where it's like cracked and the blue is showing through. Very, very cool. Here is the product code as well if you are searching for it. I have grown to really like skater belts. I'm wearing a lot of skater belts, and though like the couple that I have, one is like a nylon blend and the other one feels a bit more cottony and is extra long. I wanted a leather one to sort of, you know, elevate. Oh my God, I can't believe I used elevate. To look a bit nicer when wearing more formal or put together outfits. Like say you're wearing a tucked in shirt or something like that. Have a leather belt to go with that. And getting a skater belt means that like it'll just fit because they're exceptionally long by default. And then like the end sort of just hangs out perhaps like down or under a jacket. So I did grab this. I'm very, very happy with it. The only thing I can say that is kind of negative is that it is quite large. So getting it through some belt loops is quite difficult. The back is cotton there, but the front leather and just, the buckle part's so cool. So really, really happy with that pickup. I actually grabbed this first. This was the only thing that I got, and then ended up grabbing these 2 things later. So let's move to those. Next up, we have this really lovely jacket, blouson, jacket by Devoa in a very rare size 4. When I find Devoa in size 4 or the mythical size 5, I'm immediately interested. Interestingly interested. I'm terrible. I haven't done a video in a few weeks, okay? So give me a break. Yeah, I just really wanted to have a look at it and jump on it. I had a look at this when I picked up the belt. I said, maybe not for now, but then couldn't stop thinking about the rest of the trip. So I met up with him at the end and did end up grabbing it. This is a really cool piece. You can see like the look of the buttons is really nice. And there's also a zip right here at the neck with like a little, it's a very small pocket. Like this is the extent of how big that pocket is there. But I guess if you want to keep something like nice and secret in there, keep it secret, keep it safe. As you can see, I mean, the color listed is black. It came with tags as well, which was cool. But it's kind of more of a navy, whereas then the back of it is actually black, and there is like a black accent here on the sleeve as well. The material breakdown of this though is very, very curious. So also want to show you the inside because it's quite pretty as well. So Devoa more recently has been straying away from the older, sort of more focused on the anatomical cutting of their patterns, where their pieces would kind of hug your body, but really allow for movement with them. So when you do try some older devoa pieces, like I have a shirt, like a high neck shirt by them, it feels really bizarre to wear because it kind of feels like it's hugging your body and it might be too tight. But then when you're moving around in it, it just works. It's really interesting. I haven't experienced any other clothing that fits and works quite like that style of devoa does, which I guess is becoming a bit rarer to find as they're straying away from it. Still make really cool things, just not quite the same. So the material breakdown, where is the tag? It was on the outer pocket. This is actually a size 3. I'm an idiot, but it was the sizing, I guess, that got me. Okay, so what we have a mix of here is that it's silk, 50%, 25% paper, 22% cotton, and 3% elastin. So perhaps maybe do not wear this near a fire. 50% of it is paper, but the texture is really, really interesting, and a really cool detail as well, as I mentioned before, is the inside. As you can see, we have this beautiful lining. You can sort of see that there is like a newspaper type pattern inside there. A really, really beautiful little detail that, is kind of just a flex, like who's really going to see it? And a note here as well of where the fabric is from Italy, of all places. But yeah, let me pop this on. And also, I apologize that like these fits are not going to really look like fits. I'm just putting them on. It is way too hot to wear a lot of these things as a proper outfit. So here's the coat unbuttoned. Looking like so. Let's button it up. See how quickly I can do this before I roast. It's not that the coat itself, it's not that the jacket itself is hot. It's just hot here. So anything where I'm like properly covering up is just uncomfortable. So here's how it looks buttoned up. Do love the dangly part here of the pocket. Just easy access. I don't know what I'll put in there, but yeah, a cool piece. What do you think? Okay, and then for the final piece we picked up from Karasu's shop. Now this is an interesting pickup because I saw the photos and I thought it looked really cool, and it is really cool. However, it's wool. So anyway, here is a pair of yohji Yamamoto women's line shorts. As you can see, it has like this, well, in the light, you can see that it has this sort of striped pattern on them, on the front and the back. Like, wow, looking at them through the camera, it's much more noticeable than it is like in person. In person, it is very subtle, like these stripe lines down through there. But I suppose it's the camera adjusting the contrast based on what it can see. These shorts have the widest waist. It is amazing that they're a women's piece, because usually the women's wear does fit smaller overall because, the ladies. Size 1. Size 1 we can see there. And then the product code. For all you product code enthusiasts, we have there as well. So this is 100% wool. This is going to be a test putting these on. An interesting thing when I did put them on as well is you can see that the belt loops are slightly lower than you'd expect. So I think the intention for that is, like how a lot of yohji pieces do have oversized waists, is to sort of make that bunch up and spill over the top when you do belt them together. Kind of like a paper bag waist. I think that might be a term that's used quite often. We have a French bearer on the inside, and then on the outside, there's no belt. Sorry, there's no button, but there is a clasp, and there's nothing to clasp it to. And it doesn't look like as you can see, it doesn't look like there is anywhere for that thing to clasp to. So I wonder whether you're supposed to fold this part in and attach the clasp to the belt loop, like so, to cinch it. That's what kind of makes sense to me looking at all that, but I'm not sure. But otherwise, you've got standard side pockets that have this like cute piping around there as well. And the back pockets do not have any sort of securing, but they do seem to have flaps. They were just folded in. We can see that there are those flaps should you want to have them hanging out, closing them off, but let's keep them tucked in for now. Let's pop these on. I'm not going to be able to wear them for long. I'm just putting it out there. So as you can see, the waist is huge. Look at that. I am not a small boy. So I'm going to have to cross this over to kind of make them fit just for the video. So what drew me to these is that since they are like quite large waist, you can wear them a bit higher. So these do just sort of go just below the knee on me, but I do quite like that. I suppose you could wear them higher as well. So, I mean, whereas my other shorts are quite long, these ones do occupy like it's so hard to keep these on without a belt. But yeah, looking like so. I'm getting so warm in these. Let me change. But yeah, these are the yohji women's shorts. All right, so moving on to the largest piece that I got. So in Baz store, I had initially seen online that they had a klasica coat. And on the Baz store website, when you do find those things, it tells you where it is. And it was in the Shimokitazawa North exit store. And I had stopped by there a couple of times and I couldn't find it. But the last time I was in Shimokitazawa, I did go by and I just asked the shop staff, just being like, hey, like, you've got this online, like it says it's here, where is it? And the guy did find it. It was actually up on the wall on some stairs and covered in dust. It had been up there for a while, but gorgeous. This antique looking klasica coat. It's so warm to touch. It's from a collab they had with Tramp. I'm not too sure on the information about that as I'm not familiar with Tramp. Perhaps it is a shop, perhaps it is a label, I don't know. But have a look at this fabric. It is a brown coat. I know, blasphemous, right? The color is not as bright as the camera is making out to be. It's quite muted. Perhaps it's more closer to this kind of color that you can see. But a gorgeous coat. Let me just unbutton it. This fabric is killing my skin in this weather. As you can see, it is lined. Absolutely gorgeous. Lining. And then we have these ginormous pockets on the inside on either side. Very, very cool. On the outer we have little pocket details. We have a larger hand pocket and then a smaller. I suppose you could put like a coin case or your vape in there. And then the other side has another pocket for your hand there. Pockets also lined in the same fabric. Let's put it on. So this one I was initially a bit worried about because of the sizing, which is why I hadn't bought it online. I wanted to see it in person because it seemed like it would be quite tight on me. And I mean, like the arms work, the sleeves are like just right. But what kind of sucks is that if you did want to roll up the sleeves, which shows off the lining, which is a bit torn on the inside, then the sleeves do become short, but it is very, very nice. Let's button it up. Because as you can see, the collar of the coat is a stand. you don't really fold it over. You can see as well that the top button is smaller than the other buttons there. So it is an option to do it all the way. I'll just show you both ways as quickly as possible. So this is the coat closed. It does have a nice vent at the back as well. And as you can see, it does stand quite nicely there. Unbutton the top button. I suppose you could fold it out like that, but kind of looks nicer stood. And I mean, with coats, I just like to wear them open anyway. So here's a quick look at this guy open. And yeah, klasica coat. Very, very lovely. So lucky, and then going in as well, because it was early in the new year, they had 20% off, so really great price for this one. What do you think? Just, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, hot. It is really warm. My goodness. Okay. All right, so those are the things that I did buy in Japan. There's a couple of extra things I did want to show as well that arrived in a package that was supposed to arrive. Well, I mean, anyway, let's not get into it. It arrived before I left, but I didn't get the notification. The postal system is sometimes very confusing, and I appreciate everyone that works there. Just sometimes it's very confusing. And all I will say is that if you're abroad, you should be able to contact your postal service and not be locked out of any options to chat, because then how are you supposed to contact them? That's all I'm saying. Everyone there, very, very helpful. The ability to get in touch with anyone when you're abroad, not very helpful. So first up, I wanted a long sleeve, just a simple long sleeve. This is from Julius. It is from the permanent collection, as you can see there. You can also see that this is quite sheer. You can probably see my face through this, but I'm not sure. We'll see whether that came through in the video itself. Let's see when exactly. This is Fall Winter 23. It is a cotton Cupro blend, as you can see on the little tag there. I just wanted a simple sort of drapey long sleeve, and I guess the main feature of this is that it has this kind of double collar at the front there. Very, very minute detail, but 'tis a detail. Arm body looks like this. Very sort of, I mean, it's not super, super loose on me as I'm a bit bigger, but it does still fit nicely. And it also doesn't look as sheer. Like even when you stretch it out, like sort of maybe, but it's still not as sheer as I'd expected. But yeah, very simple long sleeve. I'm sure we'll get more use out of it, and when it's not so hot. Okay, the next two things are, of course, what would you expect? What would a video of me getting things be without including boots? So let's look at them. First off, we have this pair of Fall Winter 20, Autumn Winter 20, depending on where you are. These are a pair of Julius boots. Nice leather. The toe cap feels reinforced. Yeah, quite a bit actually. You can't really push that down. But yeah, a pair of Chelsea boots, really, really oversized. What do you call it? Pull on the back, which I've seen is like a motif that is carried along a few of the shoes that they do put out more recently. Of a Vibram sole on there, where the previous owner had put like some shoe goo on the bottom there to protect it. Does have like that chunky protruding rear here as well, which is really cool. But yeah, this, I wanted a pair of beater boots, just because I usually have things at work where I need to just wear shoes that it's not too much of an issue to get them a bit dinged up. And I have been wearing my monkey boots, but I feel like, I've had these monkey boots a while and they're just not getting easier to wear. even though they're a size 3, I've got insoles in them and I've got heel pads in them and they're still too big. Size 3 is supposed to be quite small, like an 8 or a 9 US, and these fit so big. They could be like a 10 or 11. They are that big. So it's hard to like wear them when you have to do so much. And these are just like slip on, slip off. So we'll see how we go. I wore them today. Very comfy, very easy. I just need to, because I have weird feet, wear them in a bit more so the leather gets a bit more molded to the shape of my foot. But so far, so good. And yeah, Julius boots, number 1. And number 2, the last item on the list. We have a bit of a rarity. These only came out, as far as I know, once. This is a 2012 or 2013 pair of Julius collaboration with Siva boots in a buffalo leather with a spiral zip. So we can see that the boot itself here looks like it's just one type of the leather there. Very, very cute. But if we turn it to the other side, look at this gorgeous texture we have on like this other piece of leather there. And yeah, this is a collection that I've learned is quite sought after. I think they also made them, I have seen that they've also made them in suede, which not really my thing. I don't like the texture of suede, but these leather ones and the spiral zip is very, very cool. They open like this. Look at that. Now I've seen like there's, ways you can sort of fasten that the boot itself can sort of sit like this. Something I would never do, but looks kind of cool open as well. Very like deformed shape, but these are wild. Annoyingly, because I do have a weird instep, I do have a weird foot, they're hard to get into. I need a shoehorn. I absolutely need a shoehorn to get in, but they do fit lengthways, so that is a good thing. The other thing that is of note is that the sole's quite beat up on these, so I will need to take them to a cobbler. As you can see, the front of this is coming off, and also the heel is not looking too happy either. But that's a pretty simple fix. Like everything else on them is in very, very good nick. So may do a feature video on these at some stage, but they are pretty gorgeous. And yeah, the reason for these ones, I did want something a bit shorter than a lot of the boots I have are quite tall. Did like the tornado zip and just like the difference in textures, something a bit slimmer. I do have the Cherevich-Kavitchkis, but they do feel a bit dressier, whereas these have more of a sort of like grungy, more beat up feel. I guess it's because of this leather here. So that's why I opted for these, and just finding them just like, yeah, very rare pair of boots at a very, very good price. So yeah, stoked with those. Again, we've made it to the end of the video. And again, I can just waffle on for ages about these things, but thank you so much for watching. What's your favorite pickup? I can't wear the majority of these things. In fact, any of those things, except for this tank for the next few months. So a lot of that's on the back burner. I did wear the coat a couple of times whilst in Japan, which was lovely. I can probably wear the boots, but yeah, everything's on the back burner, at least for now. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what your favorite piece was too. And if you have any trips coming up, maybe do some shopping. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. You all take care of yourselves, have fun, be safe. And as always, don't do anything I'd do except, yeah, again, get a shoehorn. It'll change your life. Absolutely. Expect in future, we do have videos, wrap up of most worn clothes of 2024, and also a list of my Grail and Seek list for this year. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, catch you next time. Be safe. Bye-bye.